You ever think about quitting?
It's the combat of life hammering the snot out of you.
Well, stand by, dig in deep, and get ready to get fired up with us.
Welcome to the Team Never Quit podcast, the #1 podcast that inspires you to fight on. I'm your host, David Rutherford, here with Mr. Never Quit himself, Marcus Luttrell.
Our mission is to help you embrace the suck of life, to teach you the values of working your ass off, and to interview the most hard-charging people on planet Earth.
We know life is hard. It's time for you to suck it up, Buttercup, and let us teach you to persevere in every environment imaginable by sharing real-world lessons learned by those who never quit. That's right. It's time, Marcus, for us to help them defeat the negative insurgency in their lives.
You fire me up. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's roll.
Let's roll. When you have an opportunity to bring one of your own, one of our own, on air with us, Marcus, I know I say it every time, but I can't help but I hope I'm fired up, brother. I mean,
well, what happened last time we brought one of us on? One of us was that one?
Goggins.
God, yeah. 2-5. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I was saying that right, but it doesn't matter. When you throw the Goggins down, so check this out, man. Goggins and I roll around quite often, right? Dude, we're bringing on today, man.
Holy cow. Holy cow is all I got to say.
You get him and Goggins in the same room.
That's it right there. We're going to do a show in the future when we got people coming here.
Because you know how Goggins is, man. He sits on that hard stuff.
Oh.
That's just for him.
Oh, yeah.
Leg rolls one of them. One of his doozies out on him, man. I'd like to be.
It would open them both up, and it would be on, right?
Yeah, I'd like to sit around and listen to that.
Just sit here with our mouths open.
What's happening here?
Well, listen, welcome to the Team Never Quit podcast. I'm privileged to be here with Mr. Never Quit himself, Marcus Luttrell. I'm David Rutherford, and we're super fired up to welcome you. If you haven't listened to us before, welcome to the show. We're privileged to have you listening. What our mission now in life is to get out there, produce this show in order to bring exceptional people in the world from all walks of life, athletes, SEALs, business people, politicians, reporters, you name it.
People who work from home.
People who work from home, which is us now, by the way. We're trying to get there. People who work from home.
Gotta start somewhere. I mean.
Bring them on the show to tell their greatest never quit story, where they learned it, their influence, where they came from. So you, the listener, you can develop that never quit mindset yourself. We want to share that with you. We want to inspire you because great stories ignite legends. And that's why we're doing it. That's why we're here. If you want to know more about us, please visit our website at teamneverquit.com/podcast. Check out who we are, why we're doing it, all the different shows. And if you want to have the shows on demand with you on the go, just go to your iTunes app, subscribe to the Team Never Quit podcast, download all the episodes, and be able to listen to us morning, noon, and night, around the clock, to and from work, at work, PT, and working out, whenever you're in the dumps, whenever you're on top. That's when you are available. So check us out there. All right. As if you're listening for the first time, what we typically do, we start with a great historical figure or event or idea, and we talk about it. Or we do the What You Gonna Do segment, or we just tell a great never quit story to launch us. Today, we've got a historical person that makes the show relevant. That person, his name is Terry Fox. Now, if you're young because Terry was in 1980 when this went down. And I remember when this happened. It made news all the way down in Florida. Terry was a Canadian.
What does that mean?
Well, remember, we had 3 channels, bud. And regional
Great
news
point.
was
so not young. Not young.
CNN didn't come around till when? Like,
remember that the knob at the bottom? You had,
oh, dude,
had to turn.
Rabbit ears, bud.
Yeah, rabbit ears.
Rabbit ears, man.
And the TV on the TVs.
So I remember the first cable box with like the knob that switched around where you got HBO.
That was big.
And
that's right. Nice. Good pull, man.
And you'd have to stay up late when you come back out, right?
Right. But when you didn't know what HBO stood for.
No.
How about that one? It was so.
Oh.
Hey, remember when that HBO would come rolling around?
Oh, yeah.
That was epic, man.
I love that one.
Those lights would start to go from the inside.
Oh, and you knew it was time.
I'd watch HBO no matter what was going. They need to bring that. That was epic, right?
That was the best intro ever did.
That rotate
because you were a crazy kid like me watching movies till the middle of the night.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you were standing outside watching through the window, because at a certain age, you had to go to bed early, right? So me and my brother would sneak out and see it. Not the Skinamax or anything, but
that's where I thought you were gonna go.
No.
And halt.
By that time, you can watch it. You're just up. Right?
You're just up, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's awesome. All right, let's get back on track, man. Thanks for that trip down memory road. All right, so the story we're talking about is
like Aliens, some horror flick or something adult, usually a romance.
Conan. Remember when Conan was on?
Man, that was right. That's how you know
Two snakes coming together as one over the sun.
Right. And hey, the big deal is I think if you're not an HBO deal, that's huge though, but if you're on TNT, right? That's
nowadays.
Right?
Oh yeah. All right. This wonderful young man, Terry Fox, July 28, 1958 to June 28, 1981. Terry was a Canadian athlete, a humanitarian, and a cancer research activist. In 1980, at age 18, with one leg having been amputated from cancer, he embarked on a cross-country run to raise money for awareness in cancer research. This was called the Marathon of Hope. Fox was a distance runner and a basketball player from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. His high school was Simon Fraser University. His right leg was amputated in 1977 after he was diagnosed with osteosarcoma, though he continued to run using an artificial leg. When the Marathon of Hope started, he trained for 14 months first with his artificial leg. Then he announced to his family, hey, I got this kick-ass idea. I'm going to do a Marathon of Hope, which means every day he was going to run a marathon and cross Canada. I mean, think about the magnitude of that. 18 years old, this young man's doing that. In 80, he began the Marathon of Hope across country to raise this money. And his idea was that he would raise $1 from every Canadian citizen to raise $24 million. He began with little fanfare, almost nobody understanding, with the hope of a close family friend and his brother in St. John's, Newfoundland. In April, he ran the equivalent of a full marathon every day. Fox had become a national star by the time he had reached Ontario. He made numerous public appearances at a Canadian Football League game with with politicians and other athletes in order to raise money. Unfortunately, when Terry hit Thunder Bay after traveling, get this, Marcus, after going 3,339 miles he ultimately had to stop because he just couldn't run anymore. Something would happen. Unfortunately, he came off the road, went back to the hospital where he was quickly diagnosed with lung tumors. He had 2 tumors. The cancer had spread to his lung. Now, Terry's run, he became a national hero. And not only did he raise the $12 million from that run, he's since gone on, and his foundation and the Terry Fox Run has raised $650 million in his name. One of the quotes I want to read to you before we have a little chat about this is a quote from Terry Fox. And he said, I don't feel that this is unfair. That's the thing about cancer. I'm not the only one. It happens all the time to people. I'm not special. This just intensifies what I did. It gives more meaning to it. It'll inspire more people. I just wish people would realize that anything's possible if you try. Dreams are made possible if you try. That's a pretty remarkable young man, isn't it?
Man, the monks that we were talking about that ran when we
1,000-mile monks.
Right, 1,000-mile monks. I mean, and you gotta appreciate the way he look. I love guys who look at stuff like that because a lot of times when people get an ailment, a cancer or something like that, man, that's what they know. I got cancer, boom, I get shuffled into the the gutter lane,
right,
or something like that.
They shut down,
right, and then you should have people who just keep living their lives, and the cancer just kind of got added on like a T-shirt. You know, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
something that you just, it's not to reference cancer as a,
No, I hear what you're saying.
I mean, it's
though.
just something
Yeah.
I have to deal with, you know, or a hole in my shirt,
Right.
It's something I got to deal with. And I'll push through it because ultimately, if someone else can beat it, that mentality, you know, someone else got this done, man, well, then I can get it done too.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, and I've shared this before. You know, I just had a close friend of mine that I became friends with through speaking. Andrew Kako died last November from a 2.5-year battle with leukemia, and you know, full bone marrow transplant. I mean, full radiation over and over, the whole deal. And what I watched in this man was something nothing short of miraculous. The fight he made every single day to live, and then to help others, you know, and spread the word to say, hey, make the most of your life.
I've heard a lot of people that the cancer survivors talk about that. So when they, you know, once you get your leg up on her and you're getting into it, and then they start helping each other, because it's kind of, I don't want to say it's a bitter irony, man, but when people go through that, they join that club, if you will, that society.
Absolutely.
They raise money. I mean, what they become capable of, even if they didn't have any, whatever it is they were doing was kind of insignificant if they thought. And just think, when they got cancer, then they lead the fight in cancer research. And it's quite an anomaly, right? Where we have to wait till. You know,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Because team guys, when do we get together? At funerals.
At funerals.
Right. And I mean, we talk about.
In the darkness.
In the darkness, right? And what's my point?
The point is that it's through that darkness that the light shines down on people, that they're inspired to go out and do something like Terry Fox. They're inspired to step out of themselves because they weren't going to allow this disease to destroy them. In fact, it actually builds them up so they can take anything and to spread that message of hope in life.
I mean, I think about it like that, though. Think about having cancer. Tell yourself you have cancer for the day.
And right? I mean, imagine, or
kinda,
better yet, go do work at a place where cancer is prevalent, a cancer hospital,
like you're exactly.
and help them live in their life, help them out, spread the word, raise money or awareness for them.
I could kick something in your head that inspires you instead,
and that never quit mindset,
right? Instead of having to get the like I said, a lot of people get it, and then they find that drive when death's there. Hey man. Death's there.
It's always there.
Those situations you get in, we're like, hey man, you can see the parallel outcome.
Yeah.
Like I can literally see the parallel outcome of us dying is right here. I mean, if you make one more mistake, we're in that side of it. We're dead.
Yeah.
I mean, when that sucker comes around, that's when you build it from the bottom back up.
Well, I'll tell you what, we got somebody coming on right now that literally understands that better than almost anybody I've ever met my whole life.
Right.
I mean, this individual is a friend of Marcus and I. I mean, this individual is a true inspiration, not only to the Brotherhood and our community and SEAL teams, but an inspiration to everybody that ever meets him. He's a Naval Academy grad. He is a BUD/S platoon commander, a combat veteran. He got diagnosed with cancer. He's going to tell you he's a double lung transplant recipient. And he is an all-around badass, man.
Yeah.
I'm so privileged and honored to welcome Lieutenant Commander Justin Legg. Let's bring him on. What do you think? Marcus, I'm telling you, I when I give the intro like I just gave, but then we move in and I see his pretty face come up on the Skype, it gets inside me and it makes me want to throw up at one time, but it also makes me want to jump for joy because he's one of our own, brother. He's one of our own, isn't he?
I have to claim him.
Well,
yeah, he is. I put him in that category as the survivor.
The survivor.
I mean, you can't kill this sumbitch.
No, you can't. You can't. The teams couldn't kill him. Cancer can't kill him. Lungs can't kill him. The Navy can't kill him. So I'm telling you what, it is without, brother, again, man, you know how much I love you. It's so awesome to welcome Lieutenant Commander Justin Legg to the Team Never Quit podcast. Justin, how you doing, brother?
Doing great, guys.
I can't believe how good you look, man.
Yeah, you're right. You're stuck with me.
Oh, yeah, we know. Hell, we've been trying to kill you for years.
I figured you had some hand.
Yeah. But, man, I'll tell you what, last time we were together, I'll never forget that time I saw you right after, man, what was right after, in D.C. that time we were sitting out in right by the White House.
Sidewalk.
Yeah, on the sidewalk there by the White House. And I was like, God dang, son, you have been through it all. And to look at you now, how rebuilt your body is, man. You're back to your gnarly self, your gnarliness.
Your gnarliness.
Getting there. Still not the lean mean 200, but
All right. So Justin, what we do when we get a guest on, we gotta exercise that peanut brain of yours up there. We gotta get you rolling. We gotta get you fired up in your mind. So what we do?
you're going to give me peanuts?
Negative.
So-
What we do is we give
But
our
we're writing that down, though.
yeah, right now. What we do is we give each guest that comes on, we put them through the Mad Minute, man. Now, you know what a Mad Minute is traditionally, but this Mad Minute is all about fun. It's all about us quick firing these crazy questions at you. You giving us the first answer that pops in your mind before we get into the meat and potatoes of this thing. So you ready for this, sir?
Man, I'm going to get in trouble. Let's go.
All right, here we go. All right. You ready? All right, here we go. All right. Beatles, Rolling Stones, or Led Zeppelin?
Led Zeppelin.
If you had to fight one, who would you fight? Stallone or Arnold?
Stallone.
College football or pros?
College.
Who is the person that you would most love to get drunk with?
Oh, it's not a multiple choice.
Most people, I always think that too. I'm waiting for.
Yeah, waiting for the list.
I don't know. Pretty much the next person that picks up a glass. But no, I'd say the Queen of England.
That's a good one. Queen.
She's got to have some stories to tell,
Right?
Oh
See, that's
my
how
God.
that's the way I look at it too. When I got asked that question, I threw a name out, and everybody looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, "Man, you wouldn't want to hear what that person has to say." All right, if you could play out any character from a movie in real life, who would it be?
Character from real life. Forrest Gump.
Oh, that's cool. I dig that. All right.
That's some bitch seen everything too.
What is your favorite childhood injury?
Broke my pinky, bones sticking out and stuff. Dad helped put it back in, tape it up.
Nice.
Or the time I broke my nose and they put spray glue up my nose so I could finish the wrestling match.
That's like a rite of passage with the father, though.
I get it. Here, son.
Right?
Here's some duct tape. Get back in there.
Han Solo or Indiana Jones?
Indiana Jones.
All right.
I've always wanted to go hunt treasure and shit.
Right?
Brother, I'm with you on that, but you got to admit, going intergalactic would be cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but everybody was intergalactic.
Interesting. You mean the character or the actor?
No, everybody in that world is intergalactic. Indiana Jones goes off on his own finding stuff.
True. He's unique in his own time and place. All right. I
So
hear
is
you.
Han. He's a bounty hunter, right?
Yeah,
Or a smuggler.
he's a smuggler.
Okay.
You know, and he
And-
made.
Indy crushed some Nazis. Come on.
Check, Roger. All right. Real. I give it to you. All right. For the final question for the Mad Minute, have you ever felt invincible?
I have.
That's what I was.
And I've also,
felt vulnerable?
Also gotten the royal smackdown from God on that one a couple of times.
I love it, dude. I love it. All right, man.
Is that what that is? So is it when guys like us starting to feel like we got a little bit of superpower? It's that ultimate smackdown from God to make us put us back in check?
Yeah, it's that hand coming out of the
'Cause
clouds.
I don't feel like that. I don't ever think that I'm, but I've been smacked down just like you. A lot, man. I got struck by lightning the other day.
You did?
Yeah. Can you believe that?
I've been cardioverted, where they have to stop your heart because your heart's going nuts.
Oh, I mean,
I've had that happen to me in the ICU while I was awake. So I mean,
While you
there
were
we go.
awake? Oh my God.
did you get chest tubed while you were awake? No, maybe. God, anybody
No,
got the crap. You got the hardware. You got. We'll get into that.
Yeah,
in a second,
let's get there in a second for sure. All right, Justin. I told you a little bit about, but our listeners are here because they want to understand guys like us. They want to understand great people who have clawed and gnawed and climbed their way out of the abyss to get back into the fight with the never quit mindset. So we're going to go straight there as we do with all our guests. Man, please tell our listeners what your greatest never quit story ever was.
so I think the greatest is there's two of them that ran in parallel for like the last 10 years of my life. So one has been with my health, and that's just, it all started with leukemia, and it's just been a chain of events ever since the leukemia started. So I got this leukemia when I was 28, and the teams thought I was super healthy. That's about the time that I felt I was invincible.
Right now, I don't remember what sparked. What were you feeling sick, or did you just go in for? How'd we find that out? Anyways, I don't remember.
So I just felt like I was starting to get, like I couldn't PT as hard. Right, and one day it got to the point where I couldn't finish a run. And I was having pain in my bones and everything like that. But I was at the boat team. I was a training officer. I was teaching guys how to fight there, and I figured, guys were just getting good shots in on me here and there. And it wouldn't go away, and then it started spreading. Like my whole chest was hurting, my shoulder blades, my hips. By the time it got down to my hips, I was on a 5-mile run one day. And, 5 miles is kind of like, that would have been what I just did for, well, I don't have time to do anything else. I'm just going to go burn out a quick 5 miles.
Right? Yeah.
Right. And around mile 3, my legs ground to a halt. And it wasn't like, wow, this hurts, I want to stop running and I'll just walk for a little bit. It was, I could not run. Like somebody threw the parachute and like a bag of cement out the back, the back of the tailgate, and I'm dragging it. And just walking was hard.
Wow.
It's like, wow, something's really, really wrong. Doc had been doing some tests to try to figure out why my bones were hurting so much. And he just goes back to like this basic blood test, and everything in my blood is just jacked up. Platelets are way down. Red blood cells are way down. In fact, the only thing that was normal was my white blood cells, and that's where the cancer was. So I think they sent me up to Bethesda the very next day. We get up there. Doctor thought I was going to be brought in on a gurney. I walked in after I rented a car at the airport. She thought, no way, this guy's got cancer when she sees me walking in. But they take a blood test a couple minutes later, come back in the room, tells me, like, deadpanned it. You got cancer.
Wow.
You have leukemia. I'm like, awesome.
Did you really say that, dude? Did you really say awesome?
No, I did not. Actually, the very first words out of my mouth were, can I still be a SEAL?
Wow.
She said no. And then next thing I asked was, have you ever treated any SEALs before? She said, no.
Oh, that's it.
I said, okay, that's...
Stand
by. Watch this. I love it, man.
So just to get the long and short of it, went through 5 big week-long treatments of chemo. So it was like, a total of about 53 treatments of chemo.
Oh, wow.
Over the summer. Did more chemo and full body radiation to have a bone marrow transplant in October. Immediately started having problems with my donor's DNA from the bone marrow being in my body. And bone marrow is like the source of like your immune system.
Yeah.
So her immune system started rejecting my body right away. Having all kinds of trouble. Most of it calmed down.
What does that make you? What does that feel like when that's going down? I've always wondered.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that? Is that like a flu feeling? Is it achy? Is it pain? Like you've been hit, shot?
So, the bone marrow transplant itself?
No, when you rejected it. When they found out you rejected, could you feel that at all?
So yeah, it comes up in different ways, right? And it's not me rejecting it. It's like, so they have to completely wipe out my bone marrow. Like all the radiation and chemo I have for the whole week before, I get 3 days in a row where I get full body radiation for almost an hour twice a day.
Oh.
And then 48 hours of straight chemo. Like one bag runs out, they hook up the next one for 48 hours straight. And they give you, right? So that completely, I mean, your bone marrow is stripped. It's never, ever going to come back. And then they get the bone marrow stem cells from your donor. They put them in, in through like a little port, and just like they're giving you like a blood transfusion. And they kind of float through your blood. They find where they're supposed to be inside the bones, and they latch in and start growing there. And so when they start making your immune cells, like your white blood cells, that stuff starts floating around in your body. And normally that pick up like bacteria and viruses and stuff, like, because it's a different DNA. Well, it starts looking at your body, and your body's a different DNA. So it says, well, I have to attack this. I'm going to start killing everything here. So for me, the first thing it got was my GI tract from.
That's why I wanted him to break that down. Because most people, when you say chemotherapy or radiation, I was like, hey, it need to be broken down frogman style to explain that to the listeners, and then they'll understand what's really happening.
Yeah.
Because most people are like, oh, chemotherapy. They don't know what that does and means.
No. So it attacked your GI tract first?
Yep. So it's like basically like taping a garden hose in my mouth and waiting for it to come out the other end.
Oh my God.
Right nows.
Right now.
Yeah, it was the
hell, that's not even right nows. That's the, you don't even know what's coming. Right? That's why you just stand there and the stomach just blows out the back end.
Wait, was that my esophagus?
God, what was that?
Yeah, so I mean, really bad. What made that even worse was that I had the very last radiation session. This is going to crack you guys up at something fierce. After you're done with the very last full body radiation session, they got to give one shot of radiation right to the boys. All right, because your testicles have this barrier inside that naturally protects them from radiation because they're outside your body. All right, so they get me laying on my back, legs open like Froggy style. Right, and if you guys could see it, like this little tiny pedestal that comes up, or these two old ladies sitting there with these two little cranks, one that like opens the pedestal up, right, and one that raises it up and down. They give me a towel to hold my dick up. Excuse me. And so they're sitting there adjusting it, like putting one on, the other falls off, putting that one back on, knocks the other one back off.
They were doing that on purpose.
Right, they bring this big radiation gun in, like, all right, so the mics that you guys are sitting in front of, for the people who are listening to this, imagine, like the big radio disc jockey.
While you're laying there with
right, having that microphone brought down, right, and pointed like 3 inches away from your boys.
Yeah.
Right.
Which in your head reminds you of that Martian, remember that cartoon? Where they hit that huge
It's like, wah, 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 wah. Yeah.
So I'm thinking, man, are they going to explode right now or what?
Oh, my
So
gosh.
you just hear this noise. Well, I ended up with radiation burns all over my butt.
Oh, no.
Of course.
Of course you did. Of course you did, Justin. Of course you did. All right, so now you've got the bone marrow. It starts to attack your body. It starts to attack everything. How soon did you know your lungs were done?
Well, it started attacking my lungs like about a year into this. And so I kept rehabbing through it all. I was doing all the medication and everything, doing tons of steroids, not like, Arnold steroids or Stallone steroids, but corticosteroids. They fight inflammation. They try and, mess with the immune system.
Mm-hmm.
And everything was going good for a while. I was rehabbing for 2 years after this. Got back in as a platoon commander at Team 8. Back up to, running standards, all the tests and everything. And my doctor drops me off these steroids right at the very end. Like, I had worked from like 70 milligrams all the way down to 10, and he just cuts me from 10 to 0. And like that was supposed to be when you're supposed to go down by like 2s and 3s and 1s.
Right.
And that sent me into this spiral. My body went nuts. My liver enzymes all shot up like probably 20, 30 times the upper normal limit of what they should have been.
Oh, my gosh.
My skin got attacked from head to toe again. I had a bad problem with my skin in the beginning. Like when I was starting to rehab, I had to put a mouthpiece in for the first like 10, 15 minutes of a workout, because until I would sweat, as I got hot, my body would just feel like there were pins and needles coming out everywhere. So like I would get on the elliptical for 10, 15 minutes, bite down on the mouthpiece, throw the sweatshirt and the hoodie on, right, and just sweat it all out until my pores would open. I was good. So that skin thing came back, something fierce, and it started scarring my skin. Then my lungs started really getting hit. My eyes got hit really bad. One day we're coming back from the O course, and one of the guys says to me, "Hey, LT, you put on a little too much sunblock," and I'm like, "What? Yeah. Oh, I didn't tell him that wasn't sunblock. It was skin.
Oh,
It was just
your skin was
skin.
coming off?
Yeah, skin was sloughing off. I was getting blisters in my palms and my soles because the skin was delaminating
Yep.
and was making little bubbles in there. And then, I was getting blood blisters in my hands from trying to do the O course with that delaminated palms. Yeah, that was getting really, really painful. Skin in the back of my head was just like it was on fire every day.
And how long did that go on, Justin?
About 6 months before all that shit started calming down.
Was that workup? Was that during a workup? Were you doing a workup?
No, that was in pro dev, right? So this is while we're all doing our
Hell, you're not even in the workup.
Yeah. You're not even in the work.
Most people don't know the pro dev. You're busting your ass too because you're gone or
You're getting your schools in, but you not only are getting your extra bennies as usual. Your skin is on fire, sloughing on. You can't see, and your lungs are failing. So after 6 months, just what happened? What was the coup de grace?
I had to resign from being a platoon commander, and then
That must
because
have sucked.
That was probably the most awful day of my life.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was like the single most awful.
Well, that's
day
what I mean. As far as really in the beginning of the officer world, man, that's your goal right there. Lead the boys into combat. That's what platoon. I mean, that's the spot.
Well, he had worked so hard to get there to come back, and he's in that moment.
Yeah, it was like what I was working for since I was like 13. Went to the Naval Academy, sucked it up to become an officer. Had to go to the Naval Academy, right?
Poor bastard.
Go through everything else. Then you're told you have cancer, that you're never going to be a SEAL again. You tell the doctor, well, yeah, I'm going to prove you wrong. And you do. And you get back into it. And then to have some other doctor just screw up the medicine and blow it all. And then there's just no way you can hang with it. And it would have been to the point, like, if I had gone on, I would have been a danger to the team.
Right.
Right.
Wow.
Coming off of
coming
off those corticoids, that for that minimum amount of time sent you into that to where they couldn't catch you back up. I mean, that's crazy. I don't know, I tell you. And then, I mean,
it ought to tell you the will he had to push through all the stuff to get his body into that space and then
to get it dropped back in.
Oh my God!
That's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah.
That's starting all over.
So
again.
You didn't resign your commission though. You just said, "Hey, listen, I got to get healthy here. Got to do this." Well, what was the next step?
Actually,
after that?
I made the CO tell me that he was relieving me because I couldn't say I resigned.
Good for you, yeah.
And he relieved me. Nothing to my fault. He didn't want to do it, but he just had to.
Right.
But so we try some last ditch effort stuff to try and save my lungs. They get the liver to calm down. They get the skin to calm down mostly. Get my eyes back to like where I can, it's not seeing through sand every day.
Oh,
but the lungs wouldn't. Lungs weren't cooperating. So we try this stuff where I get a big, 16 gauge metal needle in each forearm. All right, and they pull out the blood, do some treatment to it, and put it back in. 9 months, that's not working, and our doctor tells me, he's like, well, you're going to need a lung transplant eventually. Let's take a biopsy now and see what's really wrong, so maybe we have some chance of saving them. Do the lung biopsy. They go in through my right side, and it doesn't heal up right.
What'd you do when he told you needed new lungs? I mean, what'd you say to him then?
Well, this was like, he was saying, you're going to need new lungs in like a year to 2 years. So let's try to see if we have, any.
Okay.
So that really didn't even faze me.
All right.
So like, all right, let's just do this biopsy thing and check it out, see if we can get them to save, find something that'll save them. I didn't heal right from the biopsy. My lungs were already scarred up so bad that they just couldn't heal back together. Got a pneumothorax, so right lung collapsed. They put chest tube back in. After they pulled it out again, it collapsed again, then tension pneumothorax. Crushed my left lung, and while that was going on, I was calling for the doctor, trying to tell him that something was going on really bad in my chest. He's telling me I'm having anxiety. I
punch him right, slap him right in the mouth.
Yeah, come here, whack. Come here, doc, whack. Listen, reinflate my lungs, please.
Yeah. So I think my wife ran out into the hallway and called for the docs. And next thing, I was on a crash cart getting rushed through the hospital. And the last thing I remember before I fell asleep for 2 weeks was talking to this respiratory tech. And they put this big box over my face, this big glass box, has positive pressure, blows the air into your lungs. And I was telling her how it was like buddy breathing with a Draeger. Right?
Of course you did.
Right? Because you know how, like, when you're buddy breathing and you're the guy that's laying on top of your buddy and his bag is under you, right? So that positive pressure blows up into your mouth, right? That's exactly what that box felt like.
Right.
And so I was trying to explain a Draeger to her, and how this worked, and, if there's an emergency underwater. And I guess I was fighting too hard, and docs were like, you need to go to sleep. They put me down. And then they didn't put me down. They put me out.
you don't go down, bud.
Yeah, and that's when my lungs just shut off. They stopped. They had to completely intubate me, put me on a ventilator. I was on life support for 2 weeks almost.
Wow.
I think I was asleep total of 13 days. When I woke up, coming to was like a 2 to 3 day process of really hazy shit. The last hallucination I had where I was awake before they finally brought me awake and I didn't fall back to sleep was that I thought I was overseas with my boys, got hit, and that I was in some recovery center stateside, like down in the Caribbean or down in Florida or in the Keys or somewhere. And I'm looking out the window of my hospital room, and all I'm seeing is like beaches and palm trees and waves. But I'm seeing all the guys in my platoon out there running a shooting course. And I'm looking down at myself, and I'm laying down with my gear on, my rifle across my lap. All right,
that's heavy.
That is a hallucination
that's
right
awesome,
there.
man. I mean,
that's a good one. If you're gonna have one,
right?
yeah,
you're getting to chill out watching the ocean breeze while your boys,
are shooting, and you'll be right out in a minute.
Pain,
I'll be right out in a minute, you guys.
Yeah, and it's like, I start getting pissed off. I'm like, it's my turn. It's my turn. It's not fair. And the nurses. I remember this nurse coming in. It was just the nurse and my wife in the room, and she's like, it's not fair. And I forget what she was saying, but she was thinking like, it's not fair for me to have this breathing tube in, is what I was saying.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not fair that I can't go outside and shoot with my buddies.
And that's awesome.
She left. I kicked my wife off the bed. Bunch of nurses come in. I hit one of the nurses on the way in. I didn't even realize it was my wife that I kicked off the bed. Man, it was wild.
Flail
waking up from
State
that.
9, huh? How long, when you finally came to and realized it was your wife and nurses and docs, what was going through your head then?
Not much other than, man, I'm freaking hungry.
that was in 06, right? When was that?
That was 2010. So I was diagnosed with leukemia in 06. Had the bone marrow transplant that same year. Got back in as a platoon commander in late 08. Relieved in 09, and then early 2010. That's when I hit the
wall.
The wall hit me.
The wall fell on you, dude. All right, so did you have new lungs at that point yet, or did they just revive you and then tell you, "Oh, you're on a waiting list for lungs now"?
So no, I was up for like a couple of weeks. I'd lost 30 pounds while I was sleeping, just those 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh!
And I woke up and
I saw him right after this.
Did you?
Yeah.
I was able to eat. Yeah, but they still wouldn't let me get out of bed, so my body was just like cannibalizing itself. And I lost another 30 pounds. So by the time they let me out of bed, I was 137. You remember how big
yeah.
I used
to. Oh, yeah, huge.
Right. And it was somewhere in the middle of that, maybe about three weeks after I woke up, the lung doctor comes in one day and said, "Hey, I was just looking at your MRI. You got this big scar of just dead space in your left lung. So it's like a scar bubble. They call it a bullous.
Big old part of the lung that's not working.
Yeah.
In the middle.
Yeah. It was like a bubble the size of a pool ball.
Oh
like
my gosh.
Nice.
Right?
Right.
Like an 8 ball?
Yeah.
a bubble that big inside my left lung that was just scar.
Oh my gosh.
And she's like, you need a lung transplant within 2 or 3 months. You're done. I said, all right, well,
Why do y'all keep saying that?
Stop saying those words.
I was like, all right, well, I'm talking to my buddy OC, another team guy. Right. And he's like, this isn't just like pulling into pit row, changing out the tires and keep on going, Justin. I'm like, actually, that's kind of like what it is. It's like, we'll pull in, get the bad ones out, get the new ones in, and keep going.
As long as they stitch it up right, those work just like the other ones do. What's the problem?
What's the problem? Yeah. So how long did it take before you got the lungs identified, you found the donor? How did that all go down?
So they sent me from that. I was in Richmond at the time, so they sent me down to Duke University because that was probably the best place to go, and it also was the closest for lung transplants. Get down there, and they run me through like a month of testing to make sure that my body will be able to handle it. And the biggest thing, and I would say this is like the absolute biggest, baddest, most never quit moment of my life, was this 1 month that I was there having to go through this. My lungs were down to 13% of normal function. Oh. They were all scars. So every time I would take a deep breath in, I would feel them grating on the inside of my ribs. And I'll let that breath out and feel them bump their way back down the inside of the ribs.
Awesome. God.
I couldn't even...
Woo! Talk about an itch you can't scratch, right? I mean, just feeling that the whole time?
Yeah, no kidding.
God dang, man.
I couldn't stand on my own. And they said, you got to learn how to walk a mile before we can give you new lungs. And so in 1 month, I went from not standing to walking a mile.
Holy cow.
I needed to hold on to a walker, and mostly because I needed to carry 4 bottles of oxygen on that walker, because I needed so much oxygen blowing in my face to be able to walk that mile that I used up 4 oxygen bottles in 1 mile.
Heavy breather.
Holy cow. I mean, that's incredible.
They were blowing like 20 liters a minute up my nose. And it started out with, just learning how to stand.
Must have been driving you crazy, right, man? Because your mind is sharp as it's. I mean, you're a Navy. That's the hardest part, man. When we still got this, that's why we hope this goes first instead of our bodies. And the guys like us have the hardest problems, man. Because you're like, what do you mean just stand? Hell yeah, I can just stand. But when you can't move something that you've been
your whole life
trained, and I mean that's the frustrating. God dang. What monologue was going in your head, Justin, when they're like, all right, stand. What were you saying? All right, take your first step. What was going on?
4 words. It's not my time.
That's simple.
That was it.
That's simple.
Because I guess you just die if it is, right? I mean, that's the perfect way to say that. I mean, if it was, I wouldn't have to worry about anything. If I'm dead, who cares? I don't have to worry about anything. While I'm here, man, I just can't lay down there like a sack of shit, man. Even after they jerked your damn lungs out and having to learn how to walk.
Oh my God.
Trust me, that thought crossed my mind many times. Like there were times I would lay down at night and I wasn't allowed to have any painkillers because they might lower my
breathing rate.
So I was just like laying down at night, just in tons of pain, trying to meditate away through the pain and just keep that thought out of my head. Well, I could just die and then I wouldn't have to fight through this crap anymore. And it would be a whole lot easier.
No way, man.
But there's just something inside of you that just says no. I'm like, and I hate to sound like so vain, but it was like, I'm not going to let my buddies see me go out like that and just quit. Right?
I love it, dude. I love it. The team. I mean, the team. The team.
People ask, those psychs ask us all the time, you ever thought about dying? I'm like, well, man, that's a hard question to ask for a team guy because we're in so many situations where, dying is an option here. We can see it. He's like standing right there beside you. If we go a little bit further down this hellhole,
it's on.
It's dying time. So it's always there, but it's that part. It's like, well, man, I don't want to be a punk, in front of my boys. We've been through so much hell together. I mean, he's our leader.
Yeah.
That's that pressure coming on that he puts on himself. I mean, not only is he one of the boys, he's one of our leaders. So hell yeah, you can't quit.
I know. It's like, you're sitting there with Death. You got his arm around
he's
him.
right there, man.
Clinking drinks with him. You'd be like, hey, what's going on? So are we can do this or what? You're like,
you gonna try?
Never mind. See you later, bud.
Yeah, you're out. No more for you. Get out of the pub, bud.
You're cut off.
Yeah.
All right.
Me and you gonna tangle tonight?
Nope. All right, now get out of here, because not today. All right, Justin. So you walked the mile. You made it one step. I mean, run incredible, grueling, painful step. One incredible, grueling, painful thought every night. One incredible, emotional, never quit. Just holding on. All right, you go. What happens now? You get the lungs. Where'd you get the lungs? Where'd they come from? And what? Talk us through the procedure and all that.
Okay. So, July 21st, I got put on the waiting list. No, sorry, July 20th, I got put on the waiting list. 4:06 in the afternoon. July 21st, at 4:13 in the afternoon, I'm just sitting down stuffing my first fork full of barbecue in my face when the phone rings. My wife answers the phone, tells me, don't eat that.
Of course. Of course that happened. Just waiting for that pleasure, and then,
Nope.
surprise.
Yep. I just put out a post on Facebook a few weeks ago. I was like, yep, and 6 years ago today, my wife stole my barbecue.
Yeah,
Right?
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
All right. Yeah, so we get a call literally 24 hours and 7 minutes later. There was a young guy. His name's Jared Carter. His middle name is McKinley Carter. That kind of becomes important later on. But he had passed away the night before. He didn't pass away. He became brain dead the night before. Died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the brain. Was on life support. His mom made the decision to go ahead and make the donation. Doctors flew up, got his lungs, flew them down to me about 2:30 in the morning on July 22nd. So, enough time had passed that I could have had a little bit more of the barbecue and gotten away with it.
But I've been thinking about the whole
Now
time he
he's
was talking.
starving, he's starving now.
But yeah, so I know I'm going into the operating room, and I know everything's coming. And I'm like, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I was like, well, the odds of coming out of this are pretty good, but if I don't, I'm not going to know. So not that big of a deal. So I was like, well, let's just have one more fun time. Docs had to put these catheters into my jugular vein, and they had this big screw that looked like a Frankenstein bolt.
Yeah.
I was like, and they start pulling out the lidocaine. I'm like, don't worry about the lidocaine. Like, what? I'm like, I want to see what it feels like to have that thing put in my neck.
Right? Jug stick
with a trochanter, bro.
Right, yeah. Like literally Frankenstein. Make me into Frankenstein.
Team guy.
Right?
They make their little hole, and they have to screw that thing in there wide enough so that they can get like 2 or 3 different
Wires,
catheters
yeah.
down there.
Yeah.
Wires, baby.
I was like, man. I was like, yeah, that kind of hurts. And they're like, you're weird, dude. I woke up 10.5 hours later.
They didn't keep you down?
That first wake up.
They didn't remember
What's that?
Because the 10 days when you were down with that last lung infection, I was just wondering, when they put new ones in you, do they treat it like the infected ones that you have, where they keep you down,
Oh no,
sleeping long enough with force feeding you the air to get those things working in you well enough, or is that all on you? See if your body. Well, hell, I guess they wouldn't know until you wake up. Anyways, your body has to make that happen.
Yeah.
Make that agreement.
Yeah,
The ultimate agreement.
The
is when
ultimate handshake.
Yeah,
All
when
right.
you wake up, you're like, no,
Yeah.
later.
the one before, they were trying to get the holes in my lungs to heal. All right, and I was what was happening with those is they would heal up, and I would overbreathe. I would breathe too hard, and I would break the holes open again. And that's why they kept me down and let the machine do the breathing for me. When you get the new lungs, the Those are not nice, new, soft, supple lungs.
Did they
no
feel like new
scars in
socks? Did they feel like new socks? Because I love the feel of new. You know what I'm talking about, brother. We talk about this stuff in the teams. This is that little stuff.
Like 4 or 5 days in the field, same pair of socks, hot, cold, dirt, sand, and then you peel them off, you get your feet clean, and then you're just like, and
the gold bonds goes on.
Right, and it's like 15 degrees out. It's in the snow, and you just get that nice,
the little stuff,
warm side on your
I could
old boots.
feel me right now.
So you're saying that's what a new set of lungs feels like, Justin, right?
Like times 1,000.
Right? It had to be like new socks. Oh, just epic, man. I can't believe, man. Look, having looked in those lung cavities plenty of times, knowing the scar tissue great enough and down the inside of that rib.
Oh my God.
Would literally be like with Japanese water torture. Somebody tapping on
Worse than that.
Right.
Worse than that.
I mean, send you psychopathic.
Well, because in Japanese water torture, it's external, right?
Right.
And there's a possibility that someone might stop it. When it's internal and it's permanently damaged, it ain't stopping, dude.
And think about it. That's your lung. That part never stops.
Oh,
it's the one thing that you don't have to think about. It's automatic. So literally scraping the freaking washboard with the spoons kind of deal inside the lungs.
So Justin, I know everybody listening right now wants to know what it felt like when you woke up, when you took a breath.
That first breath, I can't describe it. There are no words for that. Just like the ultimate set of new socks.
I know. Thank you, man. Awesome.
Just complete.
Plus, they were shooting that fresh air, that air that they were pounding into had to be I kind of like waking up on top of the mountain in the snow and the sun's up. You know exactly what that crisp.
The dawn of a new day, man.
That crisp, that hard, crisp air. When you take a deep breath and you can feel it going all the way down. Yeah. It happens every so often.
Yeah.
Hey, look at his face.
I know. You can see it. Yeah, totally.
That's pounded in there, man.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, like I could still picture, I can still watch, waking up, and they had the little oxygen cannula in my nose still, and the nurse came over. And she's like, all right, you ready to, take your first breath without oxygen? And she pulled that thing off, and I was just like, I inhaled, and I'm like, oh my God, it doesn't hurt anymore. Oh, it's easy. Yeah, and even at that point, after the lungs are just put in, they're not functioning right yet. You got to work them out for 6 months to a year to really get them going. I mean, I'm only drawing like probably half a liter to a liter of oxygen at that point, and that was relief.
Wow.
God.
Right, your normal lung volume for a man is like about 5 liters. Yeah. Right, and I'm drawing about half to 3/4 of a liter in each breath.
Tidal volume is what? 200? Maybe 200?
Yeah.
Right, and I'm thinking, oh, this is awesome. This is so good.
Did you get a dose of or a shot of, hey, all right, I'm good now. I'm ready to come back. Is that what first started going? And what do we do next? How do we start? Screw a mile. I'm going to do 2 miles this week or whatever. I mean, what started it?
Well, yeah. So you mean before I got the lungs? Or
right after. You're in that space. Right, you're after? Like, hell yeah.
Right after, I was like, all right, what do I need to do to get out of here? Actually, it was a series of rooms. Like you go from the ICU to a step down room, which is like, still right around the corner from the ICU. And then after that, you go to the regular wards, and then you get out. So I was like, all right, what do I have to do to get to the next room? That's what it was. It's like, what do I have to do to get to the next room? And they're like, well, you got to get up and walk. So, I was up and walking within about 6 to 8 hours of waking up from my transplant.
I just mean because his mental state never
changed.
Never changed. So the fact that, hell, you just gave a team guy new lungs. That's like giving us a new watch or a new pair of boots. It's going to run that son of a bitch till it breaks. I probably have to check in for another pair. Check this out. This is how I always looked at him. This Navy SEAL was so badass that he blew out his damn lungs. And we're frogmen, for God's sake. And they strapped a new set in him. I mean, because you know how, every time I get a surgery, I think I'm a cyborg, right? That's just putting me back together. He's way ahead of me. And this guy, it's epic, man. Every time I see him, I'm just, God, you son of a, God dang.
It's awesome.
Man, you're hard. I mean, it makes the rest of us, even when I'm feeling down. Like,
I just think about Justin.
there's a couple of guys on our team that all you have to do is reference when you start feeling like, and I'm not talking about the stub your toe, complain to the wife for 3 days, because we all do that. I don't care how tough you are. I mean, them times when you're like, damn it, man, maybe we can find something else to do. No, we can't.
No.
And even if we could, our boys would bust our ass so hard, you'd be out of the club.
You are out. You're permanently out of the club,
man. We work so hard to stay in it.
So Justin, all right, you get out, you're room to room to room, you're back out, now you're back home. What happens next in your life? I mean, what now you've got new lungs, you're feeling better, you're working out. What's your mindset at that point?
Well, it was like, all right, go back to work, get back around the team guys, right? Because I mean, at that point, all I was doing was like these very, very light workouts. But I got cleared 3 months later to go back to work. So go back to group 2, go hang out with the guys, just start helping where I can, and get back into like our HPI workouts, right? And it was awesome because like I was obviously the guy that people are like, what the hell is up with that guy? Why can't he hang with the rest of us? But I mean, most of the guys at the team And one day we're doing you have those big anchor lines that we would pull out. It's like 6-inch across lines. So you have to like pull it all the way in and then grab the loop at the end of it and run it all the way back out. And it's like a 40-foot line or whatever. And it took damn near everything in me just to pull it in, let alone run it all the way back out.
I was like, what the hell is he doing?
Right? And so I get it. I finally get it out there, like and I'm like at the end of it, I'm down like bear crawling with my arm through the loop, running it out to the end. And I get it out, and then I like lay down, roll off of the pad so other people would keep going. And it was a master chief from another team who didn't know who I was, didn't know what had happened, comes over and starts telling me about what a terrible example I'm setting for the guys.
Awesome. Hey, Javi, I bet he was a Team 1 Master Chief. That's what I'm betting.
I mean, that's what if you saw a commanding officer sitting on the damn ground, you got to look at both sides of that.
Brother, I can get you, but first wouldn't you say, hey, man, are you okay?
No. No, it's team PT, right?
I would first say, hey, man, are you giving...
I mean, let's use a medic.
Let's hear your excuse.
That's
and
a good
then
point.
Fire him.
Well, it is a SEAL Master Chief. That's a.
You know what I'm saying, dude?
No, I don't. I'm hardcore enlisted, dude. Hardcore. But I
look at him and I was like, "Are you fucking?"
Yeah, this is where it gets good. The best part about it is the story, how he comes back at it.
What'd you say to him, Justin?
I look up at him. I'm like, "You fucking serious?" He looks down at me, and Captain Szymanski comes over. You guys know him, right?
Yeah,
Admiral Szymanski now. Puts his hand on his shoulder and goes, "You might want to excuse him. He just got new lungs." Master Chief looks up at Szymanski like,
"Oh,
the what?"
Am I?
He didn't know me, and he's like confused. Like, what do you mean new lungs? Right? Like, can't do that shit.
Exactly.
That doesn't work.
I bet it looked like.
I mean, like, you get a new heart, but you can't get new lungs.
Yeah, totally.
This didn't come
Look
from
at my scars.
Fucking submarine propeller.
All right, so.
Oh, that's the worst part. Just now that you mentioned scar, I got so cheated out of that one. When I knew I was going in for new lungs, I was like, I am going to have the biggest, badass, most
epic.
My scar is going to end all scar story fights ever. Like, so there I was inside the shark's mouth.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
I got run over by an aircraft carrier. Anything. That's. I mean, you could have been Frankenstein with what I thought what he was going to come up with.
Just a little
first thing when we saw him, we're like, "Hey, bro, I love you, man. Let me see the scar."
Yeah.
Not how you doing. Let's see that bad boy.
Let's see the scar. Oh, that's awesome.
No, looks like a bad boob job. I got one nipple that points out and to the left, and I just got this nice little line underneath.
He has the high beam. You know what that's called? The high beam when a botched boob. Yeah. I was like, man, we need to send you back in, dude, and get some.
Or let us do it, you know.
Right, yeah. Who we saw up the other day? I was like,
your Chad.
Yeah. I was like, dude, we have a badass scar there, man.
All right. So you're back at the team. You're improving. You're getting healthy. When did the whole Mount McKinley thing come into play, and why?
So I was looking for stuff to get healthy, right? And I did this Leukemia Lymphoma Society half marathon. My sister had done one first to raise money for Leukemia Lymphoma Society in my honor, and I figured, well, hey, that's cool. So my wife and I, God bless her, she got out there every freaking Saturday morning and trained with me. We walked one together like 8 months after the surgery, and just walked it as fast as we could. And, caught somebody's attention who got me in touch with this other guy who said, hey, we got this group going up to Mount McKinley in Alaska to go climb the mountain there. It's all wounded veterans. You want to come along? I'm like, well, I just got brand new lungs. I really can't climb the mountain. He's like, well, yeah, you can come and be, be like moral support. You can help with, all the logistics around the base of the mountain, driving guys around, getting guys from the airport. Okay, yeah, that sounds cool. I'll do that. And like a month later, he's like, well, hey, one guy dropped out, so good news for you. You can go up on the ascent crew. And I'm like, but that's not really what I. Now I gotta go.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yep.
Okay.
And it was that little voice in the back of the head again, Marcus.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yep. All right. Well, I can't punk out of this. I mean, right?
Absolutely.
What's the worst that can happen? Die.
Well, he's already been so close to it so many times.
Everything I kept thinking about, man, because of the new lungs and the new socks, ever since he got those, I was like, every time when he goes up in ascent, because that air is so crisp up there, I bet it feels so good. And those,
ask him,
and
how did it feel? Did it feel good?
No, I
up
know
there?
it does. That's what I'm saying. I was like, man, I would. Like,
it was
right.
awesome. It was amazing. I mean, right. So you guys are medics. You'll understand what this means, right? So my blood oxygen saturation when we were at about 12,000 feet was under 70.
Dude, can you die?
Yes, he can. At that level? Are you kidding me? Did you?
No, I understand. That level. I'm asking him personally.
Yeah. Good question.
Can you die? It was. Yeah. I mean, that kind of deal.
Check.
I know what those numbers are.
Yeah, I mean, I should have been, passed out like at least 18 points behind that.
At least.
Back down to base camp. When
yeah.
You didn't do any. You didn't do any saturating or anything like that. You just manned up and climbed up.
Yeah. I mean, we climbed up slow. I mean, we took.
No. Everyone else climbs up slow. What you were supposed to do because of the lung deal is just not climb at all, right? It's just the medic. It's that medic coming out of it, man. But obviously knew you were good when you were saying they wanted you to drive the truck, and I was like, "You ain't gonna do that. You won't do that at all." I was standing there, like, "Oh, look, somebody left a radio. I need to haul ass up there and you know what I'm talking about? You know he would."
Oh,
hard-headed son.
Hey, well, and then he's looking at everybody when they're like bent over, going, and he's like, "Hey, pussy, let's go." And you're like,
the perfect example of
yes, sir.
Dude, the perfect visual in Buds, isn't that you punching you in your face in that Discovery Channel deal?
So it is. Like trying to stay awake.
You want to know what the hell's going on here? I mean, he's falling out, and the guys. I've hit myself a couple times just to
wake up.
When you're just boom, boom. You ever seen the hooks on that son of a?
Oh, they're meat. They're meat cleavers.
Him and Andy Hathaway, who, by the way, is another one of them just
freaks
survivor.
Yeah.
After trying to kill him so many times, just won't die. He had them big old meat hooks too, man. He just,
All right, Justin. So when you get to the top of McKinley, what's?
Well, I didn't make it to the top.
All right,
we made it to about 13,000 feet. 12,500. I got to the top of this one hill that, and then I looked up the next hill. I'm like, well, I think I could probably make it across that whole stretch. The problem was you can't stop. And it was a heavy rock because it's a really, really heavy prone rockfall area. And I'm like, I don't know that I can do that without stopping. And I sure as hell can't go fast enough.
Bro,
so I was like,
that's at 13,000. That's saturation, dude. You'd have died. There's no oxygen up there for you to breathe in.
No.
Nothing. You died.
Not that low.
No.
Yeah.
Coming back down from that mountain, I had a talk with Admiral Szymanski about it afterwards. I said, that's the first time I felt like a real frog man in a long
Oh,
time.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So when you got down and you started looking at, you know, the next phase of your life, and now you know it's back, you got your mind back. Did things just start? It was smooth sailing from there, or what's been going on since then?
I've had, so you know how my immune system was rejecting me with the bone marrow transplant. Now my body, which is still somebody else's immune system, is rejecting my lungs. Has done that 6 times. And the weirdest thing is, right? So I get somebody else's bone marrow, right?
Yep.
Now I have their DNA floating around. If you pull their blood, it's not my DNA. It's their DNA. Make it even funnier. It was a woman donor, so it's XX chromosome.
Awesome.
It's not XY. So here's what we're gonna rob a bank.
Hey,
leave my blood at the scene.
Awesome.
And they're gonna be looking for some big hairy chick with a deep voice.
Hey, we can do some stuff with this. And hell, even if you left some lung tissue, if you got shot and left lung tissue, we'd still be okay. We'd really throw them off. They'd be like, there's 2 of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll just hack up some big loogies
Right.
all over the place, and they're gonna be looking for somebody
Right,
else.
we'll be like, all right, Leg, cover the tracks. Right?
Yeah, and so now I got, so now I have 3 DNAs sitting in my body, mine, my lung donors, and my bone marrow donors, and like for the most part, they're getting along pretty well. They're playing.
Every now and
together.
again, they get a fight.
But every now and then, everybody gets in a big fight. I get lung rejection. That's happened about 5 or 6 times.
Somebody gets mad and wants to leave the body.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So when the lung rejection happens, do they stop working? Do you have to get back on a ventilator? Is it
Asthma.
Yeah.
And what's it?
It's like I noticed that I'll notice it when I'm going up and down stairs or when I'm working out. I notice that I'm not breathing as well, or I'm getting more winded more quickly, and basically it's courses of medicine. For the most part, it can be handled with large dose of steroids. There's one series of rejections over the summers in between my 2 years of grad school, or over the summer in between my 2 years of grad school. I had to get stuff that was so not only do I have 3 different DNAs, and now I've had medicine made from mouse DNA, from rabbit DNA, and horse DNA. So I am my own petting zoo, and I have my own friends.
You never have to leave the house. You never have to go anywhere.
All right, Justin. So you've got a master's now. I know you're working for Booz Allen Hamilton, right? But you're also doing some other amazing things, in particular with one charity. Would you tell us about the charity that you're working with?
Oh, all right. Well, I've been doing stuff with several charities. So I've done a few half marathons for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society to raise a bunch of money for them. I've been working with Combat Wounded Veterans Challenge. Those are the guys I climbed Denali with, and I've done a few other trips with them. But just recently, I went up to Maine. There's a camp up there called Camp Sunshine. It's for children with life-threatening diseases. They bring the kid and their whole family up. Mom, dad, sisters, brothers, everyone.
I bet it's awesome up there.
Well, listen to this. This is good.
Oh, this is really cool. And so for the last 3 summers, there's been a group of SEALs been doing, a big physical challenge every year. Like the first year, they swam a half marathon in the lake.
Yeah.
Swam 13 miles.
Kids did?
No, the
I was
SEALs.
like, what kind of camp is this? This the Xavier School, and no one's told me about it yet.
Yeah, they call this Camp Birkenau. So the guys have been doing these great races every year, and I've been going up to be the MC for the events. But they know that you had the same type of leukemia that they've had, and it has just put them on cloud 9 to know that you've done so much after that, and that you're here hanging out and playing with them. It's just the most awesome charity. So I'm starting to work out little by little. It's rough, but I'm going to see what I can do to to get into that race next year with the guys. So I got 11 months to prepare.
And where
Start to eat healthy.
Where-
When is that, man? I'd like to go. I'd like to. You want to go to that? I'd like to go
I already
there,
told
man.
him I'm in.
Yeah, that'd
I'm
be
up.
cool.
I'm up for that
I'm
one.
not swimming no 13 miles. You can guarantee that.
And you ain't running 13 miles either.
No, I
'cause
can't. I can't do that. But everyone knows I can't swim. I don't know. You know what? I'll do it for them kids.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, you will.
Hell yeah, I will.
That's what I was saying, man. Hey, where can people find that website so they can donate to that camp?
It's Camp Sunshine at Lake Sebago in Sebago, Maine.
That's cool.
Um,
Well, I tell you what, that's a beautiful charity, man, and it's just so cool that you're a part of it. And I just, it's what a great symbiotic relationship. And like you said, when I've been working with kids for, that's what Frog Logic was. It always, the focus of it and the rewards you get when you can influence a child. And in particular, a child that's really struggling, that really truly needs the never quit mindset. And you are able to implant that, Justin. That is literally just a true blessing in my mind, man. So God bless you for doing that. That's awesome. All right, the last question I got for this segment, and don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring Justin into the after actions here in a second, where he's going to teach you the how he goes about his day every day and the struggle he faces and what he does and that mindset, that today's not the day mindset. In a second. But to finish up and to follow up, what's in store for you in the future, Justin? What's the future look like for you? Because I know, you not only have you just won a great fight with the Navy and them, your disability after a long time, and that getting, saying, hey, we're going to pay to help you with your lungs. You won a long fight with the Navy to get your rank the way it should be, a lieutenant commander. You finally made that, and I'm sure you got some fights ahead of you with your health wise. What in your mind in the future? What does your future look like, brother?
I have no idea. At this point, I'm kind of. I don't even want to try to predict it anymore. I just kind of just live, do the best I can. Take whatever it is. It's going to be a lot of challenges. Purposely. I know there's going to be challenges I don't want, but there's going to be a lot of them in there purposely. I'm never going to shy away from challenges. I think the only thing that's keeping me alive right now is the fact that I continually challenge myself.
Well, I bet it's just a double-edged sword, man, because you've been through it a long time. You do stuff that busts you up, and you know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But if you lived a normal, it's kind of like after all this back surgery, I'm like, hey, if you just live a normal life, well, what the hell does that mean? What's normal? That's all relative. Kind of like pain's all relative. If you stop doing that, man, and fester down, frogmen, we just die. We don't really weather out. We just die.
And we've seen it.
Yeah. So you just always got to keep charging forward, man. That's what it's all about. Who cares about dying? It's coming. And when it does, we won't. Who cares? It's over.
It's over.
It's over.
As far as I'm concerned, when I go, I go. I've done more in my 38 years than most people could ever hope to do in 10 lifetimes. And so I'm thankful I've gotten the opportunity to do that. I've been all over the world, fought alongside some of the greatest guys you'll ever meet, seen some of the coolest stuff in the world, been through every experience. Can say I've already, bent death over the table and given it to him good. I guess, when I sit back and look at it like that, I'm happy. And sometimes it's hard to realize that because, there's always the, missing the teams, missing the brotherhood, missing the physical capability I used to have, or missing just being able to go for a mile run without it die at the end of the run. Keeping that big picture, right in the forefront like that sometimes is, I'm pretty sacified. I'll find a way to keep getting into more trouble.
Yes, you will.
Moving on to something bigger.
Look, that's in our nature. I always looked at it, the hard hits that we took, it set us on that different path. So would you have ever climbed that mountain no. Now there's a lot. How much stuff have you and I and all of us done together because of certain paths that we got put on? And man, that one sure was horrible, but because of the horrible part, just pushing through it, I have been opened up to all of this. And that's kind of how you got to look at it. I mean, and your greatness, man, that's a test. You're being tested. So maybe
Every day.
You never know, brother. There might be one of them moments you stand around, you're like, got it. Or, there's a little kid there. You saved his life. Pull him out of the street. Who knows what it is, man? The amount of suffering that you had to go through for all those good times. And are you at home?
Yeah.
I see the missus walk by. Tell her I said, I thought I saw her. I was like, I forgot we were doing an interview. I started we started talking, man. I don't know why I was like a phone call. Because I was like, oh, hey, tell her I said, I was like, wait a minute. We're doing an interview here. You're not just hanging out with your buddy. I'm like, hey, tell her I said hi.
Well, Justin, man, again, brother, you know how much we love you, how proud we are of you, how inspired. I've told you over and over and over again, man. You're when I think about everything, man, I just think about you, and it keeps me in a fight, makes me push myself harder. So I know all of our listeners are hearing that, and they're privileged to hear your story. And if they want, they can go follow you on Facebook and some other places. And man, I'm just really looking forward to having you come to the After Action. So thanks for coming on the show, brother.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dave.
All right, brother.
Thanks, Marcus, man.
Great job.
Great talking with both you guys.
Dude.
I thought, man, dude, when I look back at my mouth was open.
You and I were both sitting here with our mouths agape when he talked about.
There's a couple of times there, man, when I was like, I probably would have quit, man.
I mean, he could have.
I would have.
No, I mean,
like, man,
that's what I mean, that pain, the pain of his lungs scratching up and down against his
I know what that looks. How we've seen the inside of it, man.
I've seen that before.
Good Lord. And I was thinking about this, man. I was in the White House getting the Navy Cross pinned on me.
Right.
He's in the hospital doing that bone marrow deal.
Yeah, there's entire new bone marrow transplant.
Right? That was one.
That was when it happened.
That's when it happened, right?
Yeah.
So I remember walking. Admiral McGuire was there, and the rest of a lot of our teammates were there. And Admiral McGuire was like, "Hey, we gotta go to the hospital. Legs in there." I was like, "Hell yeah, man! I'd have rather been there."
Totally.
No, don't take nothing.
No,
against,
I
was
got
like,
you.
haul ass, man. And that sucker, god dang, man, it's just tough, man.
What about the story?
What's that grit down in there with that? What is that, man? That's just kind of
now
that
you're
reminds
talking.
me of one of them. A lot of people have that flame burning inside of you.
Fire in the gut.
Where's that flame build from? And
Right.
then you got stuff. I guess one of them deep volcanoes where it's just on fire. It's not a fire burning. It's just on fire. It's a fire that's. Yeah.
Well, what I hear from him is that now it's so part of his life. I mean, that story
Has to
about
be.
walking the mile to get new lungs, and then the 6.
Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm thinking about is Master Chief Bashir when he had to walk with that leg, with the suit on.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, yeah, test him, and every time he would say something like that, I would think about when that nurse is like, "Have you ever met a Navy SEAL before? Watch this. I hope that she's seen that, or that doc has seen that.
Oh, that's changed everybody. Right? Everybody that's come in contact with this man, Marcus, is changed.
Well, I hope it changes those doctors too, and to when you're talking to those patients, going, you know what, man, maybe we need to rewrite the baseline of how hard we push these dudes, right?
Elevate it a little bit.
You got to look at, we're normal. I'm so damn ordinary, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
Just trained up like that. And because of that is because of my instructors in my head telling me that I was that way.
Exactly.
Hospitals are going for body healing. You don't, you're like, hey, your leg's broke. Yeah, your mind's broke too. You ain't not supposed to say that part, right?
No.
Positive.
You got to hold back on that, right?
If you walk in there, and same way with my brother, I remember he would say, he's like, man, I go in them hospitals, they tell me that I had a problem. I sure didn't feel like one, so I stopped going. That's what, you can't tell him. And some of them, Justin's just so damn mean looking. Anyways, you're like, sir, you kind of, never mind.
What I love is his attitude, right? The guy is like, he's had so many conversations with death.
Yeah.
Been hanging out so many times.
Yeah,
like
he shakes that head. It's kind of like, is that it? Or is that
well, he knows it's not it.
No, that's what I'm saying. But every time the next one comes up, he's like, is that all you got?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
What else am I going to do?
What else am I going to do? And that's what is so inspiring. So I hope as a listener, you heard those things, because in my mind, Justin Legg is one of the most incredible human beings that I've ever heard before. This guy
Doesn't matter what life is, live it.
You got to live
If
it.
you live in, I mean, that's it. That's what he's doing, man. He goes, it doesn't matter what it throws at me. I'm going to live it.
That's it.
Even if other people think it's hell, and I do, and people tell me it's hell, we're living this one till she bucks, you know?
Well, I love it, man. Well, listen, I hope you understand that. Well, before we sign off here, I want to share one more story that was sent in to us. And this one's a doozy, and it's perfectly to go with this episode of the Team Never Quit podcast. And please, if you're out there, share our website with people. Share them with the people that you think need help. Share them with the people that don't. Just need to be inspired or want to help other people, because that's what our mission here is, to ignite the legends inside you and to those people, and to teach them the never quit mindset. So please go to our website at teamneverquit.com/podcast. Check out the shows and share it with your friend. If you don't want to do that, go to their iPhone or their smartphone, pick it up, find their iTunes app, subscribe it to her on their phone, download it for them, right? Subscribe it and have them on demand so they can listen to these amazing stories anytime they want. All right, we always ask that if a reader is inspired to send in their greatest never quit story. Well, we got one that was sent in to us, Marcus, that's phenomenal. So I'm going to read it now. Each year around Christmas, I post a simple message to thousands of folks I've never met, telling them essentially, I am still alive. My oncology doctors told me years ago that I'm the only 6 times cancer survivor in the world. Within days, a tremendous chorus came back, 175 voices, 500. Many asked, how did you survive? They sometimes begin, tears are flowing. A few answer back in kind, right there with you. Now 8 years and I'm still on this earth. Surviving cancer once, twice, maybe 3 times may be rare, but 6 times is simply unheard of. What is in a human being to survive is beyond explainable. We have all heard about survival instinct, but until you're put into a survival situation, you have no idea what you're really capable of. I am truly a remarkable fighter who has been beaten cancer 6 times, also suffering from lupus and Alzheimer's. I have defied any and all expectations, reached my 53rd birthday. I am still fighting despite during multiple cancer operations, including 2 major surgeries, and thought one that I wouldn't even survive. I have every wicked surgery scar to remind me of my 6 multiple battles with deadly cancers. Being a feisty father and a grandfather from McDonough, Georgia, I have fought through so many medical issues, it's mind-boggling. My health and issues began when I was diagnosed with acute cancerous appendix at the ripe age of 17. I required a major surgery before an organ would have ruptured, causing fatal infection to my body. Appendix cancer tends to be rare, affecting an estimated 6 in 1,000 Americans every year. Unfortunately, appendix cancer often remains undiagnosed, like mine, until my emergency surgery. Appendix cancer mysteriously has no known cause, and at the time I had no idea how much I would tangle with cancer. He goes on to share all of his diagnosis and how he battled back from stage 4 cancer here and there. And when the doctors couldn't predict what would happen and all these different things and all his cancers, he simply told them, I'm a fighter. Somehow I've managed to fend off the infection and slowly recovered and pulled through because of my fighting spirit, belief in God, and the skill of the surgeons who performed all the procedures to remove the deadly cancer from my body. I now fight a myriad of other daily health issues, including Alzheimer's, diabetes, lupus, heart disease, peripheral neuropathy, and both needs surgically replaced. I now live with my wife in a small basement as the camper we were living burned down recently. We're barely hanging on these days to survive. I've had it tough with the cancer and other ailments, I guess. I cannot really do much these days. I consider myself cancer-free frequent flyer, being operated on now with 6 bouts of different times. How many people can say that? I try not to let my physical and mental conditions ruin my life, but it takes everything that's within me to get through another painful day. If you want to help a friend diagnosed with cancer, just be there. Friends can't make the fact that you have cancer go away. They can't make it all better. They can, however, help you feel safer. When you're scared, it's important to know that someone else is there. That's heavy, man.
Dude, that's a perfect candidate for like the RoboCop.
The RoboCop award.
No, like the like that whole, if that was possible, because the brain is unstoppable. I mean, that guy had been through the hits that guy keeps going and going and going, and his mind won't break. You need to look, man. You need to. There's something to that one, right?
Dude, where is the fight coming from in this man? Where is the fight that gets him
right? Because you can. I mean,
day?
Everyone's like, oh, it's heart or it's my muscles. When everything gets hit from all different, everything I was listening,
cancer.
Right, and I was listening to what he was throwing down. That basically his entire body's been attacked by something. So it's that mind, that never quit mentality came from somewhere. He didn't say what that was, but it's
inside him.
Right. I mean,
it's in his soul, and it's in his faith.
What else?
It's in his wife.
Yeah.
It's in those around him. It's in his doctor.
I mean, as you're writing that, I hope as he was writing, hey, brother, if you're listening while you're writing that letter, writing all that stuff down, you should have been like, God, man, I can take. Oh, man. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
mean, that's some heavyweight championship stuff right there.
It's remarkable. So, Andy, thanks so much for sending that in.
Yeah,
it was
man.
a true inspiration. We love you, brother. Stay in the fight. Don't quit. Well, that's all I got for this episode of the Team Never Quit podcast. And like everyone, I just want to make sure that I give thanks where thanks is due. So I'd love to thank God and Christ for being the inspiration in my heart to do what I do for a living. I'd love to thank Justin and Terry Fox and Andrew for the fight that you've put up. I also want to thank all those fighting right now and to be inspirations to other people. I want to thank my family, my friends, my teammates, in particular you, Marcus, and your family, for allowing me to help other people. I want to thank my wife, the Admiral, and my two beautiful little girls, because without all y'all, my purpose would be incomplete. That's all I got.
I want to thank the good old US of A, man, for providing the entire lineage and lifeline of everybody who was in line to get for us to go into the Navy SEALs. Hey, thank you, Mr. President Kennedy.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kennedy.
I mean, thank you very much, because you gave me an opportunity to hang out with that gentleman that we
Justin Legg.
I mean, come on. Even if, dang it, man.
One of the most remarkable humans.
And that's why I always say it was just a pleasure to be in that fraternity. I mean, I had to earn it every day. It was a damn struggle, and just because of that. On the chance you're gonna run into a dude like that in your lifetime, or slim to nail, they hang out everywhere we are in the teams. And I mean, the American public just got a glimpse of why we go through the nightmare of what that job is. It's just so hopefully you can be standing next to that dude when he drops some of that knowledge and motivation on you.
And he just did.
Right? God dang, thank you, America. God bless you. We love you.
We're out.
Never quit. Team Never Quit. Team Never Quit Radio.